All right, well, welcome to the weekly auto news here. This is literally the first time I've ever done this, and I'm All right, well, welcome to the. Trying to get this to cooperate, just to be 100% honest. So I'm going to do my best to get this to cooperate, and we're going to get started in just a minute here. So, welcome to the weekly auto news here. Just wanted to take some time and chat about what's going on in the automotive world, specifically focused on economic things. And in this, it's no secret the tariffs are very much an everyday word at this point. They're kind of a household word. Uh, Looking at the tariffs on the screen here, and forgive me, I'm just going to bounce between a bunch of different articles. Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that they implemented, I believe it's 25% for parts and cars getting imported. And let me just jump to this article here. It says a pause on reciprocal tariffs. And reading through here, authorize a 90-day pause. Let me see if I can, yeah, right here. But that doesn't actually, forgive me, there's a lot of news here regarding the actual markets, but that doesn't apply to the automotive world. And what I mean is it's still that 25% for parts and automotive, imports into the U.S. I will mention here, we'll talk about this in a minute, but 125% for imported goods from China. So that's a big deal. So we'll talk about that in a minute here. But yeah, taking a look at the economic side of this, this story just makes me laugh. Um, seeing 6 jumbo jets, and granted the drama of jumbo jet, but they actually it was reported they had upwards of 6 tons worth of iPhones that were air freighted from India to presumably the west coast of the U.S. But you kind of have to just laugh because 6 tons worth of, and forgive the any details here that don't seem 100%. Like they said, allegedly in some of these other articles I read on this, but Apple stepped up their air shipments to meet a goal of 20% increase in usual production at iPhone plants. I mean, it's amazing that they actually did this, but this is just one facet of, say, the US economy trying to get around tariffs. Now, looking at this, let me jump to the next article here. PC shipments, and I promise not all these articles are zero hedge. I just happened to find there's a bunch of random websites that I went out and found news on. Leave me a comment if you can hear me okay. This is supposed to be displaying my video feed over top of the actual video that I'm displaying on my screen here, but for some reason YouTube's app's not working, so please leave a comment if you can hear me okay, and obviously you can't see me, but leave me a comment if you can hear me okay, but I appreciate it. Yeah, so PC shipments jumped the most in years ahead of the tariff blitz. I mean, you see the increase in, if I zoom in a little bit here, you see the increase. It doesn't look like much compared to, say, during COVID here, but definitely a noticeable jump up in the actual, sales on the right-hand side of the screen there. This is pretty cut and dry here. Forgive any random weird ads that show up, but this is Andy Jassy says he believes sellers will increase to consumers. I mean, if that $16 ignition switch gets 120, I mean, run the numbers, it's simple math. 125% on top of like a $16 switch. I mean, you're probably gonna be paying like $40 or something, $35.99 or whatever silly price they come up with on Amazon. And that's not just Amazon. You start thinking about Rock Auto, SummitRacing.com, really anywhere, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, wherever they import parts, you're probably going to see a noticeable jump in parts as far as pricing. That kind of rolls into, I have a couple articles here a little bit further down, but this says here, could iPhones really cost $3,500 if I could spit it out? I mean, looking at this, you do the math. Let me just scroll, blah, 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 a bunch of, here we go. So yeah, iPhone 15 could possibly be 1573. Now, if memory serves correct, Apple is getting their, iPhones produced either in Foxconn or out of India. So will these prices line up with what we're seeing on the screen here? I can't tell you for sure, but there's potential for this, knowing that there is upwards of 125% tariff on Chinese manufactured and imported goods. Well, let's see what else is going on here. This one's pretty cut and dry. I don't believe this guy on the screen here is the CEO of AutoZone, but he said this back in November 17th. You see on the screen there, November 17th. He has we'll pass these tariffs on to the consumer, and you gotta imagine it's not he's not the only one to say that. Don't look down on him in the sense that he's not the only CEO that's saying that. There's probably a lot of CEOs, and let's be honest, most business owners across the the country, the U.S. here, are they really going to eat the cost of these tariffs? I'm not sure. Who knows? But looking at the other articles I have here, AutoZone here is saying, whoops, I just closed that tab. Oh well. AutoZone CEO is saying, look, we're going to pass those tariffs on to the actual customers. And then this article suggests that Advanced Auto Parts, for example, might have a sales boost from the tariffs because people are not wanting to spend money on a new car, so they could possibly just fix up their old car. And so auto manufacturers are probably going to have a glut of cars, so to speak, because you got to imagine if a car costs an extra $4 or $5 grand, and I have articles about that here in just a couple minutes, but imagine a car suddenly costs an extra $4,000 or $5,000, a new one. Your used cars are suddenly going to probably jump in value, and people are going to probably still hang on to them and try and fix them. So, does Advance, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, the whole nine yards, do they stand to benefit from this? I guess time will tell, kind of be the judge thing. Let's take a look and see what else is going on here. Now, Ford did something unique. Ford actually said, you can see it on the screen here, that I've never heard of Invez.com before, but Ford did something unique. They kind of offered a employee pricing for everyone. You and I, we can go get employee pricing. And in that conversation, there's some other people that have done a little digging. And, for example, carscoop.com here, they said it sounds good until you actually see kind of like the takeaways from it. And looking at this, I won't go into a lot of the details, but Ford actually said models lost substantial customer cash. So there were some incentives. And I was reading further down in this article or another article, I believe one of them was, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, right here, look at this. Previously, you could finance an Escape on a 60-month loan at 3.9, but now that's been increased to 7%. I mean, that's not the worst auto loan you could get, but that's not great either. I mean, 7%, that's almost, it's not quite double of that 3.9 APR, but your payment could go up an extra, I don't know, $50 or $100 a month simply because that 3.9 jumped up to 7%. So we're going to see some interesting ways that companies try to work around, short of eating the tariffs and passing them on to the customers. You're going to see some interesting ways that different companies try to cope with this over the next, say, 12 to 18 months, pending they actually go through with them 100% and they stay around and, you know, they don't get repealed after, say, 6 months or 90 days or something. But yeah, here's an article where GM and Ford, Stellantis could have literally an extra $5,000. Even the cheapest, forgive my term of endearment, the cheapest hoopty you go to GM for would probably be like the Chevy Trax, their little SUV car thing. It's a front wheel drive, 3-cylinder. You can get one of those now, I should say now, an asterisk next to that for about 20 grand, 21,000. That thing's probably going to be about $25,000 to $26,000 potentially. And they're not the only ones. I mean, even if you went out and found like a brand new Nissan Sentra, I think it is, their bargain basement bottom of their line car, you maybe get one of those for 18, 19,000, but now that's probably going to be another 5 grand on top of that, give or take. So not only are we going to see new cars prices increase, but the used cars are probably, I bet you they go up 10, 15%. I mean, why wouldn't they go up that much? If you're going to throw 5 grand on the price of a brand new car, used car lots probably could easily throw another $500, maybe $1,000 on the price of a car if it's within the last 5 or 10 year model, so to speak, and probably soak some people. I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't want to say that. Who knows? Maybe we don't see any of that, but that's just speculation on my part. But I feel like knowing how much we could possibly have in the way of new car prices just shooting through the roof, so to speak. Used car prices may jump up with it. Let's see what else is going on here. So Stellantis, I mean, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see a little bit more of this. This is the only article I really saw where they said, that's it, we're just going to shut down an assembly line. And they paused this production in Mexico and Canada due to tariffs. Now, I believe Nissan did the opposite. Let me see if I can find that article real quick. Let's see here. Nissan defies tariff trends by lowering price. Okay, so they actually lowered prices on their Rogue and Pathfinder models, but I may not have the actual article here. Yeah, I don't actually have the article here, but Nissan has an assembly line in Smyrna, Tennessee, and they were going to shut down one of their 2 shifts, 8-hour shifts there. And because of the tariffs being implemented, this 25% tariff on automotive stuff and new cars, they actually said they're going to keep both shifts. So I guess that's a positive of this whole thing is, and I think that's what the administration is trying to do, is bring manufacturing work back to the United States. Will it work or not? I have no idea. Time will tell. We'll see what the economy does, honestly, in the next 90 days. But this is an interesting thing Stellantis is doing. They are going to help the suppliers offset the cost of tariffs. Imagine saying we're going to help just eat some of this increase. And you start thinking about, draw that parallel to the overall economy. Is Walmart going to eat 125%? You got to think of like how much stuff. Like I went to Best Buy a week or two ago and I've stopped and I looked around and I'm like, how much of this stuff in Best Buy is made in China? I mean, if they slap even just a 25 or 50% tariff, let alone the 125% one on all this stuff, how do they just stop carrying certain products? Do they take like their top 50 items that sell the fastest and that's what they keep in the store and they just stop putting orders in for the other stuff? So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this year plays out with how manufacturers and companies, automotive wise, how they deal with this. In this case, Stellantis is going to help eat some of that tariff cost. Be interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, we'll, I guess time will tell here. We looked at this one a minute or two ago. Awesome to see Nissan lowering prices. I'm not sure how that plays out with their long-term because Nissan's been struggling. You've probably already seen the news where Honda was talking about potentially doing some kind of merger or maybe an acquisition of Honda or Nissan, forgive me. But long story short, that kind of fell through, and Honda and Nissan parted ways. So I personally am kind of just sitting here waiting for Nissan to just, I don't know if they're going to actually declare bankruptcy or what they're going to do, but you have to make money and as a business, and eventually if you're not making enough money, they bleed enough red ink, they might just go under. So we'll see how bad the impact from these tariffs are. But something else I noticed here, I found this article again on carscoops.com. Stellantis might break up Maserati and Alfa Romeo as tariffs crush their prospects. It's an interesting notion, knowing that they might dump their high-end brands, and makes me wonder who would actually buy these two if they ended up selling Alfa Romeo, Maserati. I got to be honest. I mean, I look at the market right now. Who has money? I mean, I don't know what Maserati's market share is and what an asking price would be for that, or Alfa Romeo, but you got to imagine those brands don't come cheap. Stellantis is not in a place to be throwing a ton of money around. I doubt Ford is interested in buying. I doubt Toyota would pick these guys up, or Honda for that matter. So it'd be interesting to see who would benefit from breaking up Maserati and Alfa Romeo, and seeing who would actually shell out the money. Because, I mean, I can't really think of any other than maybe Ferrari or Lamborghini wanting to keep it in the spirit of Italy or something, like the co-fund this or something like that. But I mean, why would they do that? So it'd be interesting to see where this goes if Stellantis actually does break up Maserati and Alfa Romeo. And okay, this article is suggesting 4,300. The other article said 5,000. So it's definitely cause for concern. I think the long-term ramifications of this is, if you haven't heard much of the actual shuttered and assembly lines in the US that were shut down in the last, say, 5 years, we may see those spin back up. If these tariffs stick and we go through the pain of having them for the next year or two, at the risk of having a recession, I personally feel like we're already in a recession, just personal commentary, but thinking about the the assembly lines that have been closed in the US here, if we possibly see those start to reopen and the wheels spin back up. Because if you look at Stellantis and Ford and GM, they all have assembly lines in Canada, in Mexico, because it's literally cheaper. The labor is cheaper, and I mean, it's just kind of a fact. And so will these tariffs help bring some of these US assembly lines back up and running and online? That may be one of the fastest perceivable benefits of these tariffs. Again, time will tell. Speaking to that, there's an article right here on Reuters: GM to increase truck production in Indiana. I have an article further down about what cars are made in the U.S., but I think about what cars. I think Subaru makes their cars in Kentucky. I believe Hyundai has an assembly line in Alabama, and then obviously the Motor City. There's plenty of assembly lines for Ford and GM and Chrysler in the greater Detroit area, but this may be in the automotive context of these tariffs. It could possibly be we see these come back online in 12 months. Now, where are they going to get the workers, all the resources for the parts? If they start bringing parts in from the outside of the U.S. to build these things, they're obviously going to have a 25% tariff on them. So it'll remain to be seen how that all shakes out in the next 12 months. Jaguar here. Jaguar Land Rover, I should say, halts U.S. shipments as tariffs ramp up. I mean, this is it's interesting to see that they just stopped the shipments. But I got to imagine if you're a new car dealer, you're kind of sitting here wondering, what's the economy going to do in the next 90 days? If you're a consumer, you're wondering that. I really think this story leads to everyone just pushing pause right now. They really are just going to sit on their hands for the next 90 days and say, you know, my car drives fine, my phone's fine, my laptop's fine. If you're going to panic buy something, you might buy a new computer or something that's possibly going to get hit with a tariff. But car's such a large purchase that I think Jaguar is doing something. I don't know if I would call it smart, but they're kind of just taking the wait and see approach here. So I mean, it makes sense that they're doing this, but I also kind of wonder how and where we go from here. Like if this rolls 90 days, I mean, you think time of the recording of this, you know, it's April 11th. So say by July, kids will be out of school, the summer vacations. Are people really going to be paying attention to this? Or is the market, you know, and the economy going to start shaking out kind of badly because of this, and more people will start taking notice? But we'll see how Jaguar responds to this over the next 30 days. I'd say keep an eye on them. Not that there's that many sales going on of Jaguar in the U.S. anyway, but you know, Land Rover does have a little bit of market share here. I know we have a Land Rover dealer in town here, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out long term. This is kind of sizable. I mean, you think about the Japanese government, there's a lot of honor in their businesses, and there's also, especially a lot of honor in Toyota and Honda and so on. It's a miracle and amazing that Mitsubishi's still alive right now and surviving as a company. But you think about these companies, is Japan really and Toyota really going to foot the bill on 25 billion in tariffs? That's kind of just mind-boggling to think that they would possibly, you know, spend that kind of money. I mean, and I don't know if that's, oh, it is each year. Yeah, it says right there, 25 billion each year. So I mean, Toyota's really going to eat 12-ish billion dollars. I mean, that's kind of an alarming number. I hate to say, I really, you know, as a consumer myself, I don't think Toyota's going to eat anything. I think the U.S. consumer is probably going to eat a good chunk of this. So my personal advice, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you're planning on buying anything and you have the money to spend right now, you maybe want to buy a computer or buy a phone. If you're planning on getting a car, I mean, I know I'm saying the obvious stuff, beat the tariffs increase, but maybe buy a few things. I know I bought a few random things in the last week or two because I was like, hey, I was thinking about buying them anyway, and I found them on sale. So that security camera, that Blink security camera I bought now, is it going to be $30, $40 instead of the $20 I got on sale right now? Possibly, if this you know, 125% Chinese tariff sticks around. But food for thought if you're on the edge or on the fence about buying something. But yeah, let's take a look and see what else we have here. Okay, so I just wanted to finish with no reason at all. Big shout out to Motor Trend here for this article, but here's every car, truck, and SUV built in America. I'll leave the links for all these videos, or all these websites in this video's description if you want to go back and take a look at them. But this is just a running list of everything that we have as far as US made cars. Forgive me, I'm just going to grab some water. I was surprised to see this list from Acura. Forgive my drinking of water there, the sounds of it. Yeah, this Acura list was surprising. I didn't realize they actually manufactured this many models in the US. BMW, that one's actually kind of surprising too. Buick, I'm actually amazed Buick is still around, to be honest. And for comparison, I'm pretty sure the Buick Senza, the CENZA, I think it is, it's the clone of the Chevy Trax. It's front wheel drive only, 3-cylinder turbocharged SUV, like crossover. I'm pretty sure that's made in China, if I remember correctly, but Cadillac has a fairly decent amount of stuff here. And then on down, I won't go through all these, but yeah, I really can't tell you if any of these cars are going to be subject to or not subject to the tariffs, but I'll go off off the top of my head, and I'll just say, if you're thinking about buying a car now, maybe it's you've been thinking about it. Maybe it's tomorrow you wake up and you go to the dealer and you look around, or you do it on Sunday so the salesman don't bug you, and then maybe you start making phone calls and securing a car here in the next week or two. I really am curious to see where we go from here as far as the actual car lots. I mean, the trickle down effect really starts. You're getting the wheels turning in my head. I mean, are you going to see rockauto.com, like, are their prices all going to go through the roof? Are you going to see amazon.com, all their parts? I mean, I bought a window switch for my CRV last May, and I think it was $16 or $18. That's possibly going to be $35, $40 or something. Same with the ignition switch. I think that ignition switch I bought last year was about $16 or $22 or something. So, but I mean, everything from the phone that I'm doing this on, it's a Pixel phone. Is it going to have another, gosh, the price I paid for this thing, this phone could be like a $600 phone. The tripod that I'm using right now, it could be a $70, $80 tripod. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like some companies are going to eat some of these tariffs, but honestly, I think the real losers here are going to be you and I, the consumer. So all that to say, that's the last actual saved bookmark I have here. I'll just start back up here and say we actually don't know, this is on the White House's website. We don't know where this goes, and we've already seen pauses. We had some tariffs change, some tariffs go up. The car one, a reason I wanted to do this stream was because the car one has stayed 25%. I feel like that's a targeted, planned effort to bring some of these assembly lines back. Now, I mean, you need parts, you need entire things to bring these assembly lines back to life. So thinking about the parts, GM and Ford, they just don't have endless parts bins sitting around. They would have to tool up and spin up, say, 1 million steering wheels, whatever it is. Everything as simple as brake pads or windows, or power window switches, all the parts, seats, all that stuff has to get manufactured. So I don't know how productive or how beneficial it's going to be, even if you have an American assembly line back up and running. Granted, we'll definitely have American jobs, so that's bravo for that. But you also got to wonder, like, all these parts that are possibly going to get made somewhere outside the U.S. and come in, there's a 25% tariff right off top of those. So it'll be interesting to see where the next 90 days go here. But with that, leave me a comment if you liked the video, if you hated the video. I apologize. I can see my video bubble. I've been on the screen the whole time, but on my my personal phone that I'm using to like monitor the live stream, I can't see my own face on here for some reason. So I'm going to try and tinker with that for the next time I do this. I don't know how often I'll be doing this, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, leave a comment if you liked it. Please like and subscribe. And forgive me for not mentioning it, but this is Fresh Vintage Shorts. Our main channel is Fresh Vintage. We have Fresh Vintage Garage, where we focus on scan tools and shop equipment. And Fresh Vintage itself is car shows, classic cars, muscle cars, horsepower. We go to SEMA, Barrett-Jackson, Mecum Auction, and all that's over there on those channels, so please check them out. And also, if you're looking for a scan tool, now's a great time to buy. ScanToolDepot.com. That's ScanToolDepot.com. If you're looking to buy a scan tool, check it out on Fresh Vintage Garage. And if you're interested in buying one, you can check it out on our own website, ScanToolDepot.com. With that, this is Tom signing off. I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.